Hey everyone, this is Labaran, and I'm going to take you on a little playthrough of Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. So if you've never heard of it, it's made by Upper Deck. It's sort of the next part in a series of the legendary Marvel, legendary villains type deck building games. Came out, I don't know, like a week or two ago. Really enjoy it. So what I'm going to do is I haven't seen many videos out on this game yet, if any, at least as far as playthrough goes. So I figured I'd just make one. I'm enjoying playing through it so much that I think you guys will give you a good idea of how the mechanics work, similarities and differences between this and legendary Marvel or villains. I think it's far different enough that it's certainly worth looking into if this is your thing. So let's get on with the game then. So the setup that you see here is basically the first scenario, which covers basically the alien movie, the first one. The game comes with 4 scenarios, which follow each of the 4 alien movies that have been put out in that order. So how the game works is basically it runs a lot like Marvel Legendary, where you've got a character pool, which would be the heroes. You've got your villain deck, or in this case, it's called the Hive. But you've got other cards such as like the Hatchery, where you've got face huggers, if you're familiar with the alien movies. Instead of wounds, you've got strikes now, where they damage your avatars. Where in this game, you actually have avatars where you pick certain classes, and those character classes have health that they will actually start to lose as they get struck by the aliens, and they also each have a unique starter card that is particular to their class. So the 2 classes I've chosen to start this game with are the gunner and the medic, which are essentially what they are. The gunner is damage dealer. The medic is a healer. And again, that only really comes into play with their 1 starter card, which I've already shuffled into their starter deck. So the starter decks are just like in Legendary, where you get 7 specialist cards that allow you to recruit. They give you 1 recruitment point each, and then you also get 5 grunts that are damage cards. So that's how the starter decks are built. The objective has 3. There's 3 objectives in this scenario. So the first one being the SOS. The second one, no one can hear you scream, and a perfect organism. As you play this game, you have to go objective by objective from 1 through 3, and to beat the scenario, you need to beat all 3 objectives. So starting with objective 1, each objective has some text explaining what you need to do. So for the first objective, it's find both parts of the SOS. They also have a unique event that occurs if you draw an event card from the Hive and reveal it. So we'll get more into that later, but there is a location for each game that you play. The location for this particular scenario is the Nostromo, and the locations have different hazard events that occur when hazard cards are drawn, and those change for each one as you progressively draw them. So you draw your first hazard card, you do what hazard 1 says. Draw your second one, you do part 2, and then 3. And they get progressively worse as things go on, and they're seated within the Hive deck. So the Hive deck was built based on the 3 objective deck. So each objective has its own set of cards, anywhere between 9 and like 14 cards that build up each of those decks. Then you take each of those decks, you shuffle them individually, you seed those decks with additional cards from the drone deck that's provided with the game. And the drone deck has a bunch of nasty cards in it, and the rule book says to put 1 random card from the drone deck into each objective deck for every player in the game. Although I'm playing this game solo, I'm playing with 2 avatars, so I'm going to play this like a 2-player game, but I'll just manage both hands, which is why I have this little miniature to sort of keep track of which turn is which, so I don't get confused as I'm starting to resolve attacks and recruitments. So the Hive deck was seeded with those cards in the drone deck, and because it's a 2-player game, I'm going to seed 2 drone cards per player one drone card per player per scenario. So that's 2 per scenario objective, which will be 6 cards. Well, that was difficult. In any case, they're already in here. The deck's already built. It's done. Everything else has been shuffled. Another, I guess, similarity but difference is in this Sergeant deck, where he acts as the agent card did in Marvel, where the cards are worth 2 recruitment points and they cost 3 to buy. But what's different and why we're having them face down as opposed to face up is that they're all unique in that they have different character class symbols on them that you can use to do your special moves, if you will, or your special tactics. Each card in the barracks deck now, it's made up of 4 characters, and those 4 characters are all from the Nostromo crew, which again is all part of the scenario. The book tells you exactly what cards to use and what decks to mix together. So this has the four crew members from that set, and that's all been shuffled together, and they all will share the same crew symbol, which can be used to perform combos much like the character classes do. There's 5 different classes, symbols, and you'll see them as we start to play the game. So I think that covers most of the setup, and then we can pretty much get started, and I'll go through the turn orders as we go. So player 1 is going to be the gunner, and I'm going to draw 6 cards. That's your starting hand, and I'll draw 6 cards for the medic for his starting hand. And I will seed the headquarters. So at the start of the game, you put out 5 characters from the barracks to create the character pool that we can actually recruit from. The rules here are the same. As soon as you recruit a character, you can you refill that spot. So you don't have, if you have 4 recruitment points, you wouldn't buy both of these 2 cost units. You could, but you're probably better off buying the 2 first, flipping the next card, and making sure that's not something you want over the other card that you can afford. So it's a nice system that it gives you a lot of options, as opposed to having to empty this out and then refill it afterwards. The way the Hive works is just like the villains did in Marvel Legends. As they come in and they work their way through the complex and down into the combat zone, and then the combat zone is where they'll actually start to do damage to your avatars. So you want to keep them out of here at all costs. And another little twist I'll show you once we start the turn. So the turn order goes like this. Turn order phase 1 is the Hive phase. So the Hive phase is just simply taking the top card of the Hive deck, keeping it face down, and putting it in the furthest empty, or the closest empty room. So in this case there's nobody here, so it's going to go into the ventilation shafts, and then every card that gets drawn after that is going to push this card further and further down the complex. So we don't know what this card is yet, because obviously we haven't turned it over to reveal it, but the only way to look at that card before it hits the combat zone, because once they hit the combat zone they automatically reveal, but the only way to look at that card beforehand is to scan it. To perform a scan, it costs attack points. Attack points are the same attack points you would use to kill the aliens. So you've got to decide, do you want to scan? Do you want to save your points for attack? Do you want to? So it has a really good, strategy or strategic element to this game, more so than some others that I've played, which is really refreshing. So that's all you have to do for the Hive phase. The second phase is action, where it's just let's look at our cards and see what we can do here. So our first hand is your basic starter hand. It's all the starter crew. So I've got 4 grunts, where the grunt cards provide you with attack points, and I've got 2 specialists, and the specialists provide you with 1 recruit point each. So we've got 4 attack and 2 recruit. So I could, and this is actually not a bad first hand, with the 4 attack, I'm going to spend those 4 and scan the ventilation shafts and see what came out. So the first item to come out is an event. So when an event card shows, you can discard it in the event spot on the playmat, and you look at if are there any cards out that have an event trigger, which we don't have any cards in play, but does the objective have an event? And this one does. So this event is Rough Landing, where you and the next player each draw a strike. So we're gonna have to take 2 strikes. My gunner, and we'll resolve that in order. So he gets close call, no damage. So that's a nice one. That's the best one you can pull. And the medic is going to take a shot, and he gets a contaminated wound. Now this one does him 1 damage, and this strike can't be healed. So this is permanent now. It's stuck on the medic. So the medic is now down to 9 health from 10, and the gunner is still at 11. So that resolved the event. Complex is actually empty now, and we have 2 recruitment points. So fortunately, there are 2 different cards out here that I can afford. So we'll go with this Quarantine Procedure. So this is a pretty good card. This is one of the only cards I've seen here that allows you to start killing cards in your deck. So it's a good deck thinner to get you, to your more powerful cards more often. So since we purchased, we'll replace it immediately and clean up. The next phase is strike phase. If there were any aliens in the combat zone, they would actually strike the gunner now. You would draw a strike per alien, and there's certain aliens that give you more strikes. So it gets pretty nasty pretty quickly. But since there's nothing there, we skip that phase and then discard hand and draw 6 more. So we'll draw up 6 more cards for his next turn and hand it over to the medic. So medic does the same thing. Turn order is Hive phase first, drops the Hive into the ventilation shafts. Action phase is spend cards. So here we go. This is one of the we actually drew the medic's skill card, right? His class card, which is a battlefield medicine. So this card lets him. You may heal a strike from any player. So this would have allowed me to heal a wound or a strike on either character. Unfortunately, the wound that he has is a contaminated wound. I can't heal that, so he's going to carry that forever. But it also lets him draw another card. So we're going to play that one, and we're going to draw a card. And as you can see, this card also has the symbol here, this class symbol, which is a survival symbol. So that one, any other card that has that symbol down here with some text next to it, we can use that symbol if we play this card first to combo off of that, just like it did in Marvel Legendary. So the rest of our hand is mix the cards here. We've got 2 combat, which isn't going to let us do anything because the only card out is a cost of 4 to scan it, but we have 4 recruitment points. So I guess we'll do some recruiting, and this is a good one. This is a pretty basic. Find it and kill it. The little flavor text is, "This son of a bitch is huge." It's nice. So he's a coordinate. So I'll explain coordinate later if that comes up. But it's a way that you can help other players with cards in your hands, or at least 1 card in your hand. So he gives me 2 combat, so it's not a bad card. And he is also his symbol is that survival. So I'll draw up to 6 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All he's got left. And I will pass the torch back to the gunner. Phase 1, Hive. Phase 2, action. Alright, so here's the gunner's card. Let's rock. And first thing I can do is draw a card. So we drew a card. And the second ability on this card is you get attack equal to the current objective number. We're on objective 1 still, so he's only worth one attack. So I'll play him, and his symbol is actually strength. It's a green Hulk fist. So we'll go 1 combat, 2 combat. So he's only got 2. That's not enough to do anything. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recruit. Forgot to fill that in. It's okay. 5 recruit, and we will take teams of 3. So if we play 2 Nostromo crew cards before this one, we're allowed to look at the top of the barracks. If it's a character, then either gain it or put it on the bottom of the barracks. So this is it's a good way to get some free recruitment throughout. So that's the gunner's turn. We'll replace that card, and it looks like it's Captain Dallas's his elite card. That's every character has one really strong card, and his is pretty good. His lets you gain a character in the HQ to your hand. So that's awesome. So we'll draw the gunner 6 cards, and we will pass it over to the medic now. So we will go to the Hive phase and see what we can do. We've got 3 combat. You can play that right off the bat. Now, as you can see, as they get closer to the combat zone, it gets cheaper to scan. So 3 combat will let me scan the weapons locker. Wow, another event. Okay, so we know what the event is. It's that rough landing. They each take a strike. So we'll hit the medic first, and he gets another contaminated wound, another damage. So you can't heal these, the worst ones. So he's got 2 damage now. He's got max health of 8, and the gunner pulls another contaminated wound. So wow, not good. Can't heal either of those, so they're permanent. But that event's resolved. We have 3 recruitment points, and we will actually get a sergeant this time, I think. So these are the sergeant cards, and as you can see, he's got the little symbol for leadership. So you can use that to key off of, and he's coordinating. He's also +2 recruit, and he's also saying, "Look into my eye." I didn't understand that line in the movie, and I still don't understand that line in the game, but I didn't enjoy it any less. Okay, so he's done. It wasn't a great turn, but you know, it's a turn at least. Yeah, we still have a lot of breathing room in the complex. So, all right, I will deal him out his 6 cards, and we will go back to the gunner. Okay, so it's the gunner's turn. So what we're going to do is bring the Hive out and see what we can play here. So we've got, look at the top card of any player's deck, and you may kill it or put it back. So I could do it on my deck, I could do it on the medic's deck. I think I'm going to do it on the medics for now, just so that we get to his heal card a little bit quicker. Try to thin his deck out a little bit. So let's see. Yeah, so it's a specialist, a recruitment card. So we're going to kill this. It's out of the game now. I can't combo teams of 3 because I need at least 2 members of the Nostromo crew to play that ability, but it'll still be worth 2 combat. I've got 3 grunts, so that's 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, 1 recruit. So I can't recruit anybody, but I can do 6 damage. So I can scan either 1 or both of these, or I can scan 1 and then maybe use the other 3 for combat if it's something I can take on. So let's see what the first one is. A face hugger. Okay, so oh boy, okay. So this actually was one of the deck cards seeded from the drone deck. So that's like I said, you get some random stuff going on and none of it's good. So when you reveal, you put this in front of you. Any player can fight it on their turn. If it's still alive at the end of the next turn, kill it and get a chest burster from the hatchery. This is not what you want. So this goes on the gunner. But fortunately, I had 6 combat. And with 6 combat, 3 to scan it, and he's only a 3 to kill. So he's gonna scan it, it jumps on his face, and he kills it. And I'm gonna discard it. So it's a dead enemy. So that was good that I didn't scan both or scan the other one first, but either way, you know, we got out of it. So that wasn't so bad. Could have been worse, but it worked out well. All right, so now it is our medic's turn. So remember, we're looking for those 2 SOS pieces, parts. All right, so we've got a lot of garbage. 2, 3, 4, 5 combat, 2 recruit. Alright, so at least with the 2 recruit, we can buy You Have Your Orders, a Captain Dallas card, which gives us the ability to look at the top 2 cards of the barracks and then put one on bottom, one on top. So we'll replace that, and then we'll use our 2, 3, 4, 5 combat. 5 combat. Well, let's scan the weapons locker. Part of the SOS. Alright. This is exactly what we were looking for. So it says to, after you reveal it, move this to operations. And once we found both parts of the SOS, discard them and complete the objective. So this will come and sit in operations. That's part 1. Halfway there. We had 2 combat left, but it's not enough to scan another area. So the medic is going to end his turn. Draw 6 cards. And we're going to go back to the gunner. Alright. Let's see if we can find this other SOS. Okay. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen this turn. So we found his Let's Rock card, so we're going to draw one. Still an objective 1, so it's only worth 1 combat. That's 1, 2, 3 combat. We can scan him. And it is an egg. Alright. And we have 4 recruit. So with the 4, we'll take Repair the Ship. This is, if the power station's clear at the end of our turn, we get to draw an extra card. It's not bad. So we've done everything we can with our cards, but the egg is out. So what the egg does is, alien does not move or strike, but, you know, if an event card comes up, we're getting a face hugger, which we're gonna have to get rid of that quickly. So I'm gonna draw him back up to 6 and replace that. So yeah, the eggs aren't bad unless you keep scanning and you start pulling vents, because that's when, you know, they're really can be nasty if you don't get rid of them. Like I said, it can ruin your game, which you definitely don't want at this stage. At any stage. Alright, so we drew his 6. And then we'll pass it back to the medic. So, medic's up. We're going to hop the egg, because the egg don't move. And see what we can do. Hopefully we can scan. So we've got Battlefield Medic, Battlefield Medicine, so we can draw a card. And we've got 2 combat, not enough to kill the egg. So this is where it gets a little interesting. 2, 3, 4, 5 recruit, 2 combat. So I could scan that with my 2 combat, but if it's an event, he's getting a face hugger, and if I can't kill that face hugger with the gunner, he's getting a chest burster, and that's not a chance I'm willing to take at this point. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll just recruit. I won't use my combat. I'll just recruit with 5, and I'll get the electric prod. So this is a good one. The combo on this is once it's turn, you move an enemy or a hidden card to any clear room in the complex. So that's where you can start bumping aliens around and keeping them out of the combat zone. So I know I'm going to need to shuffle because I only got 1 card here. But we are looking okay. So what I'm going to need is for this gunner to take out this egg, like ASAP, so that we can continue to scan, because we're really close to finishing this first objective. All we need to do is reveal it. So let's see if we can do that. Ah, okay. 2, 3, 4. We have 4 combat, so 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna stay cautious, and I'm gonna use 3 of my combat to kill that egg. It only leaves me with 1 extra, so that's not enough to do anything else. But I've got 3 recruit. I forgot to fill that. We're gonna take this one for 2. That's the quarantine card that helps us thin our deck. So he's done. Draw up to 6. Pass to the medic. Medic goes to the hive. And we start. So battlefield medicine. Medic card, draw a card. Alright, 2, 3, 4 combat. So what we can do now is actually start revealing some things. So let's scan 2 combat, we'll scan the airlock. See what we find. Alright, we found another egg. And with 2 more combat, do we do it? Do we risk it? What the hell, let's go. Let's throw caution to the wind. Scan for 2. Don't be an event. Okay, this is why I don't do that. Alright, so this is exactly why I don't do that. Alright, so with this event, 2 things are going to happen. The first thing is this dies and a facehugger goes on my medic, right? And I have the gunner's turn to kill it, or we're screwed. The second event is that the SOS, this rough landing, again is going to beat on these guys. So the first wound, which is a deep gash, is 2 damage, goes to the medic. So the medic's actually got a total of 4 damage now, 6 health left. The second wound goes to the gunner, which is a massive blow, 5 damage. Nice. 6 total, he's down to 5 health. So, but that can be healed, so that's okay. I don't know how you can heal that kind of wound, but whatever. I'll go with it. 3 recruit, I'll take first aid, because we'll probably need it now. And we will discard and draw up his 6. Back to the gunner. Alright, let's see if we can get the medic out of this jam. Oh, and we're good. Okay. So, pulled the gunner's Let's Rock card. So we get to draw a card, plus it's worth one damage still, because we're still on objective 1. We have another 1 damage card, and we'll get to look at the top card of any player's deck, kill it or put it back. Let's do his deck this time. And it's a grunt, we're going to kill him. So that's 2 combat, 3 combat. 3 combat's enough to kill the facehugger and save our medic from an untimely death. Alright, so that pretty much saved our game so far. We don't have another Nostromo card to play, which is annoying because we can't, gain a character from the top of the barracks, which stinks. So 2, 3, 4, 5 combat, but we used 3, so we actually only have 2 combat. Actually, I didn't slide these over, so I forgot to hive. My fault. So we actually can scan 1. And it is another egg. Fantastic. 3 recruitment left. We'll buy another one of these quarantines. And that should do it. So he's got 2 cards. We're going to need to reshuffle. Alright, so we got out of that close call, but unfortunately we weren't able to really scan as much of the complex as I wanted to, so we could get past this part and move on, because the other one's much more engaging, much more complicated. So his deck is drawn, go to the medic. Remember to do the hive this time. And see where we are. So we're clearly going to clear that, kill that egg, because we do not need a repeat of last round. So we have, alright, so we've got a 3 card, but we can combo him, but we don't need to, because this is one that lets us kick a monster or an alien back to any one of these empty rooms if we had an empty room, but we don't have any that are really in a position that are going to do that. So we'll just take his 3 combat, kill the egg. We have 2 remaining combat, so we'll scan this guy, and well, SOS Part 2. So once you find both parts, these get discarded. Objective 1 is complete. Let me just finish out his turn. He's got 4 recruitment points. I can't get any of these, they're all too expensive, so I'll just buy another sergeant. Discard. And move on to Objective 2. So, we're in a pretty good spot now, I think. So Objective 1 is complete. We found both SOSs done. We're moving on. We're on to Objective 2, and we'll pick that up in the next episode. So thanks for watching.